Welcome back, my friends, to the party time that, well, you might have thought it ended, actually, because it's been a while since we've been on your screen and in your ear. It is Major League Sorare. I'm TrippinB. He's DraftKicks, otherwise known as Schuyler and Dan. What's going on, DraftKicks? How you doing? Good to be back. And let's talk a little bit about life, the universe, and everything. It's a contemplative episode here today as we are back for the first time in a few weeks.
Yeah, doing well. Good to be back. It feels like it's like becoming a regular theme that I say it's good to be back because weeks off, 2-3 weeks here and there before we have a chance to get back together again. Yeah, it's just how life has been. Like you said, feels like I've been living at the soccer field. I've got some prospects in the making that I've been trying to work towards them having their own Sorare card one day. So
yeah, exactly. How great, like, you know how LeBron James wants to play in the NBA with his son? You just want to buy your son's Sorare card, you know?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's just been busy, been at the soccer fields. Work has picked up, like real job work has picked up, not just
that's good,
Sorare,
right?
So yeah, and then too, I think last time we talked was when Messi was coming to town, coming to Nashville, and I did end up going to the game.
Amazing.
Thankfully, I'm still married. Probably paid a little bit more than I should have. But it was an amazing time, man. It was an amazing game. Got to see Messi score a banger. Got to see him lift his first trophy in the States. Won the Leagues Cup in a wild shootout that ended up, I think it was 11-10. Drake Callender for Miami, the goalkeeper, hit his penalty kick, and Panico was saved by Callender. So that's how it ended, and it was right in front of us. Shootout was, we were about at the 18. Shootout was right in front of us. So much fun. But yeah, last time we talked, I think I had bought a Messi. That Messi has been out the door.
You no longer possess a Messi card. Yeah.
Use those funds to help pay for the excessive cost of that ticket to the Leagues Cup final. But hey, man, like I said, it was worth it for me. And that Messi card, it'll come back around at some point. That's my mindset, my mentality. So. But what about you? What's been going on?
I love it, man. I love the story, and it kind of gets to the heart of what kind of we want the theme of our episode here to be on this comeback on yet another comeback tour of Major League Sorare. We're going to call this one Sorare versus real life, and it's because we got to fully admit, we have a lot of awesome people that we've connected with through doing this show, through playing Sorare, who give us good feedback and they say, "Oh, Trip, DraftKicks, you guys are great. You're so funny. We love hearing you talk about Sorare." And that's great. And that feels good. And that pushes us to keep doing the show, obviously. Keep that coming, obviously. But, like, there's also people who are like, man, these guys, there's got to be people out there who are like, man, these guys are lazy as fuck. They never do any shows. So I think, like, in the middle ground there is just, like, we're trying to live our lives. And like, things happen, schedules change, seasons come and go for sure. Like, we started this show, it was the end of last winter, and now we're about to start of the fall, right? So we've gone through spring and summer. All of that plays into like what we're able to do. And so it is kind of funny. Like I love doing the show. I love getting on microphones with you and talking. You've been busy. I've been busy. Neither of us have really had a lot of bandwidth out in our other lives, I guess, to get together and do this. And like, you could have brought in a guest host for an episode. I could have brought in a guest host for an episode. We could have like kept things going, but I like to do the show with you, man. I like, it's you and me, it's like,
geez.
So it's all good. And we have had some great guests, obviously. And we try to, like, at least what I feel good about, and people can let us know in comments and feedback and stuff, is that when we are able to crank out an episode, it's usually worth listening to and gives people a little bit different perspective on the Sorare world than every other bit of content other that I hope people are consuming. We don't, I don't consider any other Sorare YouTuber or whatever competitor. I think we're all in this together. So anyway.
Yeah, no, I think those are all good thoughts. I would just add to that and just say, I think it's something that isn't really necessarily like talked about as much in the Sorare on the Sorare content side, is just the fact that, hey, you don't have to be 100% locked in on Sorare. Like, for me, it feels like at some point then I was just so locked in on Sorare that I was kind of losing some focus on some of the real life things I really needed to spend a little bit more attention on.
Like buying Messi tickets?
Yeah, buy Messi tickets, work on my marriage some,
Mm-hmm.
No, but just to say, like,
You have a lovely wife. I've met her.
yeah, absolutely, and not just that, but just in general, life, of course, is going to take precedent over anything else. But I feel like for the hardcore so rare managers, and it's not saying there's anything wrong with it, but it's just like feels like you have to be glued to the site, checking the auctions, checking
Mm-hmm.
prices, and that that it takes its toll. It gets taxing, and for me personally, it's felt a little bit refreshing, I guess you could say, to kind of step back a little bit and not just be as gung ho about so rare. And I know that's kind of going against what we originally started. This whole project was to be really
Like dive deeper. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
on top of MLS and force feeding almost MLS so rare. Um, but it's kind of gotten to the point for me, like, yeah, I would love to be able to spend majority of my day talking about Major League Soccer, talking about so rare and Major League Soccer. Um, it's just
It
not
just
that.
doesn't pay quite as well as you need it to,
Yeah, yeah,
with
yeah,
that
and
whole
it's just
family
not that
thing.
phase
Yeah.
of life for me. But if
Yeah.
it were, then yeah, absolutely, I would
Mhm.
be firing off tweets, trying to get on So Rare USA's level, and just also there's I feel like there's definitely some more potential in the Major League Soccer space where
Mhm.
So Rare is concerned, because it is kind of a niche area on So Rare, and I'm happy that we've started this project and kind of gotten it off the ground. But it does feel like some things have kind of taken over to where we just can't keep up to where we initially wanted to be.
It's
But
true, it's true, yeah.
I'm okay with it, and I think you
So this
probably
is
are
yeah.
too. So
This is
that's
our
kind of
mea culpa. Yeah, this is our mea culpa. Still a lot of good things to think about, and we're certainly I'm still playing So Rare pretty actively. It's just harder and harder. One thing is, I work in like TV, media, radio production in my 9 to 5 job. So sometimes I'm like, I come home and it's like, man, produce a podcast episode. It's like, I just got done doing, it feels like I'm still working all of a sudden, in my
yeah.
free time. So there's that element as well that sort of can sometimes shut me down, or at least like prevent me from taking the first step to saying, okay, let's fire an episode. But yeah, that's just us being real and honest. But in the end, it does got to get back to, we appreciate the fact that people do want to watch. We appreciate that people want our episodes. And so, we got a lot to talk about. Messi's still dominating the league, and the international break is now wrapping up. We're sort of about to hit a home stretch here. A lot of teams have 3 games in a week. There's a double game week coming up. So we're excited to talk about, the midweek and everything that's coming up. I'm really hyped up for Charlotte FC, the playoff run. And I want to know, from what your previous experience tells you, DraftKicks, like with all kinds of fantasy games, So Rare, MLS Fantasy, Kings, as we get to these late games in the season, does the strategy start to shift with like how teams are throwing out their 11s, how guys are maybe carrying themselves, maybe carrying injuries to try to stay on the field while they've got these crucial matches? Just like, what do you know about a home stretch of a season that differentiates it from sort of like the middle of the season?
It's a lot of fun. I can say that much. We're going to see some wild results down the stretch,
Mhm.
rightfully so. I mean, you see it all over, though. You see it in Premier League. You see it. You see some teams when they're desperate, then they turn up. And
Mhm.
so the thing about MLS is, like, there's so many teams that that have a shot to get into the playoffs, and that's what makes it fun for me. Is that, hey, these games, like, everything matters. Every game counts. And so, yeah, I think you're going to start to see some of those teams that are on the bubble, like Charlotte, start to turn up with some big results. And we've seen it before, where teams might just be kind of going through the motions, kind of a pedestrian side throughout the season, and then, hey, all of a sudden they hit their stride at the right time down the stretch and make a big run towards the playoffs, and potentially win MLS Cup. I mean, we've seen some teams make
Mhm.
runs at the end of the season that have
Oh yeah.
shocked the world, so to speak.
The last couple years have seen sort of like the higher ranked teams sort of hold form, like the chalk has carried the last couple of years. But MLS famously over the years is known for like underdog runs and Cinderella runs and things like that. I want to call up the table here and just take a look at like where we're at in the East, and then we'll go to the West. But I'm obviously very hyper focused. I almost have this Eastern Conference table memorized. I recite this to myself every night before bed, like, 3 points versus DC, we got to get them, like that'll draw us even. And I think about the dropped points, obviously, but like these playoff races heat up. And so we talk, I mentioned, do teams change their strategy with the 11s? Because I'm thinking like, what's a team like if you're looking at like Sorare purchasing opportunities here, are you willing at this point in the season to invest in some younger players who might start to see minutes for like these eliminated teams? Like as Toronto's out of it, are they going to bench Bernardeschi and Insigne and start to like see what they've got with the rest of everything? I mean, Toronto's kind of a special case because they're just such a mess, but like, Red Bulls and if Charlotte falls, I'm not stupid enough to think that Charlotte could lose the next 3 games and suddenly be eliminated from the playoffs. Maybe we would start to bring some young guys. Do you like that idea of like maybe like starting to invest in like guys who are currently on the bench but might get like a month's worth of utility and coming in a couple of weeks?
Me personally, no. I'm probably not gonna go basically roll the dice on a player that I'm not 100% confident that's gonna get minutes. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
Gonna
fair.
get
Yeah.
minutes. But
Hey man, buy the rumor, sell the news. That's how we make money in this game, right?
Well, yeah, and I was just gonna say, I mean, obviously, pay attention to what's going on with lineups, substitutions, that kind of thing, because I don't think there's going to be any drastic moves right down the stretch as far as benching guys like Bernardeschi and Insigne, unless there's something that happens or comes out. But that's the kind of thing that we should know about, and we should have an idea of who to look for. But I mean, that to say, like, there are plenty of guys, especially with some of the reshuffling in MLS over the past few weeks, guys coming into the league, new players being added to teams, players going to new teams, like Diego Fagundes to LA Galaxy is one that comes to mind. But there's situations to watch to see how they play out down the stretch that you might be able to find some value in players that have a new home or might be a lesser known in MLS. And so, yeah, there's absolutely that that I'm kind of keeping an eye out.
On the flip side, then, if you're not, necessarily out here scouting, potential flips or whatever, or just, extra utility that might come, because that is risky for sure. Are you trying to mitigate some risk maybe by dumping guys on like teams that are just like straight up eliminated? Like if you have like, some Portland players, certainly Colorado, even Galaxy guys, like are you maybe being like, yeah, it might be time to unload some of these guys because I don't want them for next season. They're never going to go up again for a long time. Let's just get rid. Or do you hold in this situation and try to sell next preseason?
It's a tough one. I've been selling a lot. Just
sure. Yeah. Well, exactly.
Partly to liquidate a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I've still got some strong cards on hand that are mostly cards that I'm expecting to do well down the stretch. Ryan Gauld, for instance, I think that he's in a good spot with Vancouver. They've been playing well. Hector Herrera, he's been doing well all season for Houston, and I think they're kind of surprisingly right there in the mix on the playoff bubble too. And I expect, a guy like him to well, actually, they're 5th. Wow, that's right. So they're 5th with 39 points, and Dallas is on the last spot with 34. And so, yeah, I mean, it's
crazy that Houston's 5th. It's crazy that Austin is even on the bubble. A week ago, Austin was even in playoffs. Like some of these teams, like you anecdotally think of them in your head, like, man, they suck. And then you look and like, oh, are they actually, and again, Charlotte, there's probably people that think that about my team, Charlotte. They're like, man, Charlotte really sucks. And then they look like, oh shit, they're 1 game out of the playoffs. It's
right.
great.
It's almost like, hey, everybody gets a playoff spot, but there are a few that miss out. The Austin Portland game this weekend on Sunday, that will be a fun one. That's it's a huge one for both of those clubs. But no, going back to your question, it's tough to really advise on selling at this phase of the season because MLS cards have just dropped so much with Europe taking back over, and MLS is kind of screeching to a halt probably in the next couple of months. And in a month
there'll be almost no MLS left. That's true.
And so prices obviously reflect that. If you if you want to try to liquidate and just, hey, maybe I can sell 4 of these cards for point 0.1 ETH and use that to get a European card that's going to help carry me through until
Right.
MLS is back, then yeah, I totally get that. You might end up making whatever you came off back just in, hopefully prizes or thresholds,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. So I get that strategy. I just think, if you have the means to hang on to your cards right now, then yeah, I think
Hold,
you do
baby.
it. You're in it
Yeah.
for the long haul. And then next season, of course, we've seen it before where there's that price surge right before MLS comes back. I mean, maybe even a few months before MLS comes back, we've seen it before where prices just start to like randomly start ticking up. So
Yeah, yeah, it was weird. I mean, obviously, I think 2023 is gonna be remembered as kind of a year that So Rare crashed pretty hard. I mean,
oh yeah.
it went down in 22 from the super highs of 21, but I think So Rare definitely crashed this spring. Anybody would tell you that. Um, that was happening while the European season was still going on last year. And so I don't know, is it going to stay low? Is it going to boom? Like any these markets, they can hit a highs and lows and lulls and rides. And here, like, it makes me think about what you said at the start of the episode, which is, there's all these different ways to play So Rare. And like, I remember the feeling of like joining up in So Rare 2.5 years ago and feeling a little bit like it was gold rush mentality. It was like, oh, I got to get in, I got to plant my flag, I got to get my guys, I got to start getting cards. These are all going up. I got to start establishing myself in this game, because who knows? This game is brand new. It just started. Who knows how long it'll be
So
around,
much
et cetera, et
potential.
cetera. Yeah, it's all potential. And that's kind of the sort of the daily mentality that I had when I first thought about So Rare when I joined. And now to hear the way that you sort of describe, like, yeah, I had a Messi, but then I had a Messi card and I sold the Messi card for some real cash so I could go see Messi play. And so, it's like,
Hey, I won a prize with it in between too. So
yeah, exactly. So it kind of like, it's almost like it shifts the way that you play the game, the more the longevity of the game sort of establish itself, if that makes sense. So the one metaphor I always use is it becomes part of the furniture. It's almost like if we're all in society, in the sports fan society, let's say. I'm not expecting the whole general public to be here, but if all of sports fans, generally sports fans, if you follow sports, right, even if you don't collect baseball cards, you know what baseball cards are. You think that little kids have these cardboard things that they buy packs of in stores, et cetera, et cetera. And then you may also know that there's a little more hardcore version of that hobby that trades very highly on the internet and things like that. You may be aware of that. What So Rare is doing is like embedding itself in that whole landscape of just like being a thing. It's not so new anymore. And it's like it's just a thing people know about, right? So it becomes sort of a little bit more casual, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's not so much, oh, I gotta like get in and gold rush this thing. It's like I can dip into So Rare, I can buy a Messi card, and I can dip out of So Rare, I can sell my Messi card. And so it's just like a thing that's like a game that is not as so much urgent necessarily as accessible. I don't know if you feel the same way or if any of that makes sense or what.
yeah, yeah, no, it does, and it's yeah, like you said,
It's
it's
So
kind
Rare
of every
versus real life, baby. It's So Rare versus real life, like I
yeah,
keep saying.
and it's I mean, hey, you look at an actual club and how they are constantly bringing players in and bringing players out. I mean, it's they make that decision. Obviously, there are contracts involved, which that's completely separate than how Sower operates.
Mhm.
Um, but in a sense of like, hey, we brought this player in, he's not doing what we need to do, so he's going right back out. Or hey, we brought this player in, he's going to make us some money. Let's get our money and ship him back out. Like it's yeah, so rare versus real life, kind of like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know. And everyone plays, like, I know for my part, sometimes this year has been I've thought about, is as much as we have not necessarily been doing episodes, and I may not be quite as active in the market in the last 4 or 5 weeks as I was the previous 10 weeks or whatever. Um, it's like I'm still thinking about the game a lot still every day. I'm thinking about my gallery and like what I want to do with it. And sometimes I think to myself, man, like I spent a lot on these cards, and I look at other people who've spent less and won more, and I'm like, should I be envious of these people? Should I be, you know, mad at myself for wasting an opportunity, or did I blow it, or do I suck, or all this stuff. And I just have to go back to like, I'm just not the type of person that is like super motivated by money. It's why I don't have a lot of money in my life. It's because like money doesn't do everything for me. Money's all, I see money as a tool, not an object to acquire. So like, I just love my Charlotte cards, my overpriced Charlotte, dumbly. I was fortunate enough to like make a decent amount of money in crypto, just because I like happened to buy some crypto years and years ago. And instead of, spending that on stocks and bonds or stupid other investments, I decided to buy Sorare cards. And so I have some uniques and, some decent super rares and stuff like that. But I'm not like the best. I don't have like this elite, like I don't have like the most maximized. If I had spent the same amount of money with the pure, like I got to maximize this and be as efficient as possible in getting the best of the best, I still might have made mistakes and effed up, but I definitely would have done a lot of things intentionally different than I did do. So, I don't know, but I love my gallery, and so it is what it is. At the end of the day, I don't feel bad when I get to the end of my self-examination.
Yeah, it's a journey. It's a journey. I mean, it's
Right.
ongoing. It's all everything. Every move that you've made is all part of your club's history and all part of your club's story.
Yeah.
And
And
that's how I view it, man. That's what I love about Sorare is like, yeah, there might be periods where we aren't as checked in as some people are, or as we want to be, or as we don't want to be. But then there's going to be periods where, hey, I've got the next whatever month free. I've got this much extra money to play around with. Let's go in and have some fun. Buy some, like, there's going to be periods in every individual Sorare manager's journey to where, hey, you may be more locked in and focused and having fun with it, or you might just need to take a breather. And that's both ways are like perfectly fine, in my opinion.
Yeah, take a breather. Exactly. I mean, the MLS season, I think we said when we started the show, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And the marathon has grinded us down at times, but it is good to be, it is fun to be talking about all this for sure. So you haven't had a ton of like great necessary results. Do you want to talk maybe a little bit about like your sales strategy and like what you've been up to try to recoup all those messy funds and all of that? That could be nice.
Yeah,
I'll bring up your transactions page here.
yeah. So I mean, if you scroll
You
back,
sold the guy essay. I like that. Right, just in time for the see. That's a nice timely selling international goalkeeper into the
right,
international
his
break.
price jumped up a little bit because he had that international utility. I've been selling a lot of my limiteds. I know there's been several managers that we know. Lairdy one that basically sold off his entire limited deck just to kind of reinvest in other places, which makes total sense. I mean, limited's just so hit or miss as far as value. And so, yeah, I did sell off. I don't know if you can see there, but I pretty much sold off all of my NBA collection, which wasn't much, but I had some nice limited cards in there, some Ja Morant's, Harden's, Jimmy Butler's. So, just NBA is not going to be back for another month or so, a couple of months.
About a month and
Just
5 weeks.
yeah, figured I could just free up that ETH or cash now.
Still winning some rewards. We like that.
Yeah, so just kind of cleaning house. And then there were some big ticket cards, I guess you could say, that I ended up shipping off. I got something out of Pablo Ruiz there, you can see, which he's out for probably a year.
Yeah, he won't be back till the middle of next year, I'm be guessing.
Yeah, I did have to let go of some cards like that Hollingshead there. That was click on that one if you can. That one was a tough one to let go of, just because he was one of the guys I've had since the beginning.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can see the
club
date
legend.
The date that I bought him on. If you actually click on the card, then you can kind of see that he.
Wow, look at that smile.
Yeah, and
that's your guy. Who's, by the way, everyone's ranting and raving. I got to say this about the new 3D cards, right? So Rare 3D Premier League and Bundesliga cards in 2023. So Rare Data has had this for a long time. I mean, look at that 3D action right there.
Interactive card.
Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about
they're on their game.
Props to So Rare Data. They've anticipated it all yet again, but. This is a great card. I can see you picked him up on the April 21st, 2021. That's like early in your So Rare career.
Yep. One of my first cards, like I said. And so that one was tough to let go of.
I love that. How about he went at this card went for $411, 0.2 ETH at auction in 21. March 2021 was a crazy time, y'all. If you started playing Sorare more recently and you weren't there at that time, absolute insanity. So,
and I
but
still
he
think
won you a lot of rewards here, as we can see. He's already winning his new owner rewards. This guy's a freaking stud.
Yeah, you got him in packs, but yeah, he was a club legend for sure. And I still think he's going to be solid down the stretch. LAFC are a team that could run to MLS Cup. And I think for me, my mindset was like, hey, somebody's willing to pay for the card now. If I really want a Hollingshead, then I can go back and then pick one up, probably for the same price I sold them for. So it's
I
tough to
mean,
let go of, but
it looks like he earned you what, 380. So he earned you about $400 just on his own, as part of some really nice lineups. Part of lineups that earned a collective, 3K. So
yeah,
not bad at
yeah.
all. And then you dumped him off. You shipped him off to Gaia FC for $60, bro. I mean, come on,
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he's selling
that's
for
the
that now. That was what, a couple of weeks ago.
yeah. His price has
Almost
gone down. His price went down because I was actually looking at a Hollingshead to buy for the most previous game week. What is it? I guess 405 it would have been. And I had a good America team, but I was short a defender. And I said, I'm going to buy a card for the game week. And I was just about to buy a Hollingshead card. In fact, I clicked buy and then it wanted my password. And I was like, right before I put my password, I was like, wait 1 second. And I checked one other thing that said he was maybe questionable to play because they looked like a good rest spot for him. And I was like, And so I didn't buy it. And then I bought an Aaron Long instead for like $20 cheaper. I was like, F it, I'll just take the center back. I bought Aaron Long and H8 Hollingshead. Banka, baby. He did not start.
Yeah.
Aaron Long did.
He didn't even play. Yeah, good call.
And as usual, the rest of my lineup crapped out and it didn't even matter. And I shouldn't have bought the car for the game week. And I can't resell the Aaron Long for the same price that I bought it. But
it's how it goes. It's
well.
all part of the fun. But yeah, so yeah, strategy in general. Yeah, unloaded a few big tickets and then just some spots where I felt like I could sell cards that I had a gut feeling, I guess you could say, that their price is going to continue to dip. And so I tried to offload some of those and just pocket what I could. Hang on to enough cards to where I can still have some fun the rest of the season. And then who knows, maybe I'll jump back in and start picking up some of these cards that are going down. And I still feel like they have some value for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I've been telling anyone who will listen lately that my mission is to get a Messi rare for next year. I think he's just going to bang 100s all summer next year for Inter Miami. He'll probably, me saying that means he'll probably get hurt, but you're still holding some decent. It's not like you are sold out or anything like that. You're still. I still see you're on Team Melia. That's good to see. And
yeah, I've got his super rare. He did not perform well last game. I think he gave up 3 to Inter Miami, but I feel like he's got the job for the rest of the season. So
it was brutal.
I feel pretty good about that.
It was brutal to see. I was so excited that he was back and starting, and I got him in a lineup, and then he just absolutely got housed. But,
well, it was Miami. I felt like they'd give him a better game, but
right. You still got some strong cards here. Obviously, we're still playing the game, and we'll wrap up the episode. It's a little bit of a somber tone, maybe to some, like that we've talked about, sort of the ups and downs or the detachment a little bit in recent weeks from Sorare. But I just want to shout out everyone. The one thing that when we started the show, we launched a Discord server, and we have like a very good group of people in there. Have a lot of lively conversations. Great place to it's like all MLS/Sorare. Intensive people who love those two things and the nexus of those two things very much. And so we're going to keep that going. We're going to keep the show going. This is not a goodbye episode. This is just sort of a reflective episode and an addressing of why we sometimes have been so sporadic with our tapings. But we got a playoff push to get to. We got more guests that we'll be bringing in. We'll try to come up with more inventive. We always try to break ground on this show. We did the live stream end of the game week, one of the first time that was ever done for MLS. Quinny obviously does that for a lot of European game weeks, but we did it for the MLS for the first time ever on this show. So very proud, but just, can't always make this my main focus. I do have a family. I do have a job. I do have, leisure time as well. So where I like to just completely unplug from everything. So any final words before we get to the definite decisives?
Yeah, I think it's been a good show. I think it's been good to be kind of upfront and just be transparent as far as, hey,
Right.
like this is where we're at. And I feel like, obviously, we hope that anybody that's watching that has been, where are these guys at? Where's the show? Hopefully everybody understands. I feel like this community is understanding in that sense that, hey, we're not expecting you guys to be cranking out content 24/7, but every 2 to 3 weeks, we can handle that, right?
We'll try to come back sooner in next time. That's all I'm going to promise. But and come in the Discord. Join the Major League Sorare Discord. It's it's much more vibrant than the show episode release schedule. And you can come in there and yell at us and call us lazy bastards and tell us we need to work harder and start rededicating ourselves for sure, because it's all jokes and banter and we have a lot of fun with it. So time to do definite decisives. That's sort of a signature of the show. It's a major thing that we do, and that has not stopped in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. We're going to bring it up. It is kind of sad to see there was an 8-game week lapse in our. This is where we're confronted with the fact that it's been a while, but there's some international breaks in there that kind of maybe give us half an excuse. I don't know, but you did pull off. So this is the game week that you were at the the Leagues Cup final, right? This was the Nashville Miami game week, correct?
Yes. Got to see a Messi banger. He did not have an assist, but he had a just beautiful goal where he basically juked a couple of Nashville defenders out of their socks, touched it to the left, and then just curled one upper 90 with that left foot.
Was that right in front of y'all where you were sitting? You said the shootout was, or was that other?
Yeah, so that Messi goal was on the opposite end of the field,
Okay.
which we still had a nice kind of view just from that
Yeah.
angle right behind.
I bet.
But did get to see him score his penalty kick right in front of us, which is cool.
Yeah, that was an alien goal that he scored against Nashville for sure.
Oh man, it was
maybe one of his best.
It was one of those where, like, as Nashville fans, and you're just standing there with your head in your hands. Like, I wanted to cheer a little bit because it was such a nice goal, but also have to keep it true to Nashville. And that to say, Nashville really showed out that game. It exceeded my expectations. I mean, there were a ton of Messi jerseys out there, a ton of Messi fans, but I definitely needed to just say, like, Nashville really showed out, and that was fun to be a part of.
6 weeks, Miami at Charlotte, decision day. If I see any Charlotteans cheer for Messi, we're gonna have words, okay? And we might have more than just words. So I don't want to see it. I want my hometown fan base to hate on Messi and shower him with boos, and hopefully they'll be doing it. I'll be booing his dumb little Argentinian ass from the stands for sure.
Hey, Nashville was booing. Did not make it an easy environment for him to play in. What gets me though, man, are the people that have the jerseys of the actual club that they support with Messi. So I saw a Nashville jersey with Messi on the back. I'm like, that's not it, bro. That is not it.
Yeah, that is I think they're oh my gosh, that is so far away from it.
You had to have seen that before, right? You had to have seen a couple of those out in the wild.
If I see it, I will be obligated to say something. That's all I can tell you right now. But anyway, speaking of booing, boo to my definite decisive picks. I picked Mukhtar. He was shut out at home by Inter Messi. And then Berkey actually got the guillotine. I feel like there should be some type of penalty for me for picking a definite clean sheet that gets guillotined. This was a 6. Fortunately for him, St. Louis scored 6, I think, right, against Austin, so it didn't matter. But
it was 6-3 barn burner. But why don't you turn that blood red?
Let's do it. Let's do it live. Let's just turn this thing extremely, extremely dark red, just like that. How about that? Because that deserves it for sure. But nevertheless, he persisted, as they say. I'm going to continue with my definite decisives, and here's what I got for game week 407. I don't care. People say that I just choose definite decisives based on the heart and not like on what's actually be definite. and I do not give a flip. I promise you. I
My
pick
people,
Enzo
are you
Copetti.
saying me?
Yeah, Enzo.
My
What I'm
people.
here to tell you is Enzo Copetti is scoring, whether he starts on the bench or in the starting 11. He's going to score at home against DC United. He takes PKs. If he subs in, if he starts, he's getting a goal. I don't care what anyone says. And then Kai Wagner, he's pissed. Contract talks are swirling. He wants money or he wants a new hometown. And he's going to get one of those things, I think, eventually. He's going to get an assist this weekend. And then Dane St. Clair, speaking of assists, if you saw one of the great people can talk about Allison and his great, header goals or whatever for Liverpool, and they are great for sure. But give me the goalkeeper who not only goes up on the late corner kick and gets into the box and tries to get a header, but stays up for the secondary attack, the reset, where the second cross comes in, pinballs over to him. He takes it down on the half volley, slides it over to his other foot, shimmies the defender, and then slips it to the wide open man for the equalizing goal of the last kick of the game. Dane St. Clair, take a bow. You may be one of the most howler-prone goalkeepers in the entire league, but you have some serious skill, sir, and you are my could-be clean sheet for the week. Schuyler, what do you think?
I love it. I had Dane St. Clair as my number one goalkeeper in my MLS fantasy rankings over on MLSsoccer.com. So he didn't get me the clean sheet, but an assist, like, I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, and if he gets another assist,
Totally
but not a clean
unexpected.
sheet, I will be painting that thing yellow for sure. But
It's a decisive. So
yeah, exactly. And always love when you shout out your work on Major League Soccer, soccer.com for sure. How about your definite decisives, my friend?
Yeah, if you want to start from the back in goal, then going with Matty Ice. Seemingly has taken over the starting role from I can't think of
whatever his name
Baraza.
is.
Yeah, Baraza. So Freese has started the last 2 games. He's only given up 1, had a clean sheet 2 games ago. And so it feels like New York City FC at home against Red Bulls, who have 1 goal, I think, in like their last 3 or 4 games.
They're horrible.
Yeah, their attack has sputtered out. Lewis Morgan has finally announced that he's out for the season, which has just been pretty much imminent. Like, he's just been limping along all season, and finally he's done. I think Van Zier's been struggling, so just kind of a paltry attack, I guess you could say. I'm going to pick on him, and hopefully Freese continues to take his opportunity as the starter. So midfield or automatic assist feels like, I don't know how much explaining I need to do other than Reynoso has just been in God mode lately.
Yeah.
His crossing output has been nuts. He had 25 crosses last game. Just feels like he's always putting himself in a spot to be involved in a goal. So feel pretty good about that. And then, Carlos Vela at home, or El Tráfico against the Galaxy. He always turns up for the El Tráfico.
Right.
I've got his stats pulled up here. So Carlos Vela has 12 goals in 13 MLS matches against the Galaxy, tied for the most against a single opponent since Vela joined MLS. Wow. So yeah, I mean, he turns up for the El Tráfico. So see him do it again.
He loves it. And and Zlatan's not there to have MLS script against him this time, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've got sorry, it's taking some drink there, but they've got several other pieces in place. It just feels like Vela's he always turns up for this, and I feel like he's good for at least a goal or an assist. So
let's close real quick. Thanks to everyone for sticking with us through the weeks and through the minutes here. I want to ask you real quick, as we go out, what's been more impressive to you? I just mentioned it a second ago. MLS, the way they've scripted these wins for Messi, or the way they did it for Zlatan a few years ago? Which are you more impressed by?
I gotta say the Zlatan, and I might get in trouble for even commenting on this, but anyway, now the Zlatan's like,
you can no comment if you need to.
Some of those goals, even if they were scripted, then he had to at least still, you still got to hit that ball from midfield. You still got to rise up on some of those.
Wasn't your boy Hollingshead involved in one of those?
He might have been, but that first goal for sure. I mean, I think I've even gone through a play-by-play with you. I'm like, okay, so what is this defender doing? Why does he
It was like the
just for this
JFK
cool
courtroom
spot.
scene for sure. Yeah.
So
Magic
if you want to
bullet.
go back and analyze it, and you can have your own opinion on it, but yeah, you know what my thoughts are on that one.
I love it, man. Well, they're doing a great job for Messi too, is what I'll throw on top of that pile, and just say that can't wait to knock him out of the playoffs in a few weeks. We will be back in less than a few weeks. This was great to be back, and now that schedules are sort of normalizing for the fall with school, who knows? We might even be back next week. Don't count us out. So thanks everybody, and we appreciate it.
Yep, been fun. Good luck, guys.